A Fox News alert right now. Israel striking back in a counterattack against Hamas terrorists in Gaza, who opened fire on Israeli troops in a clear violation of the ceasefire. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns they will regret it. Former Israeli government spokesman Ilan Levy joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hello, good morning, Charlie.
So where do things stand right now in terms of keeping the ceasefire together, long term?
Well, President Trump's doctrine of peace through strength has never mattered more than it does now. These terrorists are trying to challenge the ceasefire and see how much they can get away with. And Israel cannot let them get away with such a serious violation of the ceasefire, or they will keep doing it. Let's remember, we're dealing with Hamas that is trying to rebuild its terrorist army now in violation of the Trump peace plan. I think Hamas still thinks it's dealing with President Obama. Hamas is still holding onto one of the bodies of a hostage it killed and abducted in 2014 during a humanitarian ceasefire. That ceasefire was underwritten by the United States. Hamas violated it and made a mockery of the United States. And I think Hamas doesn't realize President Trump means business. And the whole world is going to be looking now to see how the US and Israel respond, because if you let these terrorists walk all over you, then that's going to doom the peace plan we need so much to end this war.
So what do we know about the lines of communication? I know that there are the open channels between Israel and the United States. Are there similar channels of communication that are open between Hamas and Israel, or Hamas and the United States?
No, Israel and the United States have a strong line of communication because we're strong allies. In fact, I think the Vice President and Witkoff are going to be on their way to the Middle East soon to work out how we make sure this is a lasting peace. Israel does not have direct dialogue with Hamas. That has been mediated in the talks by the United States. And those talks led to President Trump's 20-point peace plan. And Israel is demanding the full implementation of that plan, every single point. Disarmament, demilitarization, de-radicalization. We want this to be the last Gaza war. But if Hamas thinks it can keep getting away with violating the ceasefire, popping out of tunnels and shooting at Israeli troops, we're going to be dragged back into another war. We don't want that to happen. The peace plan has to be implemented in full.
So that line of communication between Hamas and Israel all goes through, say, Qatar and Turkey at this point.
Qatar and Turkey have been the mediators of the peace agreement. For too long, Qatar and Turkey were actively taking Hamas's side in this conflict, and it's a tragedy that it took 2 years for them to say enough is enough. Hamas has to free the hostages, and now they need to say, Hamas, enough is enough. You need to lay down your arms. You need to give up power. You need to let the whole Middle East move forward towards a better future.
Ilan Levy, thank you so much.
Aren't you going to have to compromise on something around healthcare subsidies to end this thing?
They want to give 1.5. They have a deal. We have a deal. We just want an extension. And the reason we want an extension is because you can't make a deal with these people. They're lunatics. They've gone crazy. They're crazed people. Trump derangement syndrome. There really is that disease. At first, I found it to be amusing. Now I find that it really is. They want $1.5 trillion for health care for illegal aliens that come into our country. If we do that, it will jeopardize the health care of the citizens of our country. So we're not going to do that.
And on China, you've got a lot of economic levers to pull. You've got all those Chinese companies trading on our exchanges.
I have a lot to pull. I'm not looking to destroy China. I'm not looking to destroy China. But, China's taken out trillions of dollars, not hundreds, over the years, trillions of dollars. China has built their military because of us. China has taken out trillions and trillions of dollars. And then I came along my first term. As you know, I took out hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I tariffed China. And Biden left them, except he made so many exceptions, it didn't matter. But I tariffed China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And now they forced me to charge them what is the equivalent of 155 to 157%.
But they need our capital markets. I mean, we're funding the expansion of these companies tied to the military.
I think they do. But look, they have a very smart leader. And I think we have a leader that wants to make a deal, because I think that's smart. And he's smart. So we'll see what happens. I'm meeting with them in 2 weeks. We're going to see what happens.
Final question on the surveillance that has gone on. I mean, we've got reports that Congress collected 30 million lines of phone data during the January 6th investigation. They tapped the phones of 8 sitting lawmakers. What can you do to prevent this kind of surveillance? And how high up the chain did this go?
I think it went right up to the top. And I think it started with Obama, with Comey going up and giving me a briefing in 2016, 2015, the end of 2015 and 2016. And then I said to him, who knows about this? He said, President Obama, his wife, and Joe Biden. They sat in the Oval Office talking about it. But it went all the way through. Obama was involved. Biden was involved, everybody. And then they got this guy, deranged Jack Smith, a lunatic. And they put him in because he was the meanest prosecutor you could find. He was sort of a failed prosecutor because he failed he'd fail because he'd always go too far. And now he really went too far. And we'll see. But you had 8 senators and I guess a couple of congressmen and some other people. But you had, maybe worse than that, you had a House raided of the ex-president of the United States, who actually won the second election by a lot.
Were they looking for that report on Russia collusion?
I heard that they were looking because they thought there was a report bad about them. They thought I had it, which I didn't have. I didn't have anything of any merit. But they were looking, and I also had the Presidential Records Act. I had the right to have all this stuff. I had the right to have it. Only the president has that right. The vice president doesn't have that right, but the president does. But they were looking for they thought I had bad things on them because they knew how bad they were.
So was it a
conspiracy? If they weren't bad, they wouldn't have known that.
Do you expect there will be charges that there was a conspiracy against you?
I don't know about charges. I'm allowed to be involved in this. I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. You know that, right? A lot of people say, oh, he's the president. He should. No, I'm the chief law enforcement. I'm allowed to be involved in it, but I haven't chosen to. I think Pam is doing a very good job. I think Cash is really coming onto his own. It's a field that he's very good at. I think they have some people that are very good. We're going to see what happens. And again, I didn't know it was happening, but I see John Bolton just got indicted. That's a good thing. He's a bad guy. I don't know what he did, but he's a bad guy. Stupid kind of a guy, actually, He helped me, though, I must say. When I brought him into a room and I was negotiating like with Putin or this one or Kim Jong-un or whoever, when they saw Bolton, they gave me everything. You know why? Because they thought it meant war, because he was crazy. All he wanted to do is drop bombs on people. He's one of the people that convinced Bush to go into the Middle East. And I understand why. The guy was just I thought he was a crazed person. When in doubt, drop bombs on everybody. When in doubt, kill people. But having him standing, he never talked much. He almost never talked, come to think of it. But having him stand there with a big mustache, these people that I was fighting, they looked at him and they said, oh, man, let's give up to Trump because this guy's crazy. Bolton is crazy, and we'll end up in a war. I won so much stuff. But despite that, he was a bad guy. I don't know what he did. It must be pretty severe. But whatever it is, let the courts decide.
And all of these indictments caused Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign. And he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal, but he started the whole thing. And there were a lot of dishonest people. And I suspect they'll be caught.
Mr. President, thank you.